things in there. Yes, Ernie?
Let me talk about that section right there, afterward or now.
Go ahead.
I'm learning, I looked at a review, I'm learning to get some.
This one here? Which one? This one?
Second one.
This one.
I'm the training program manager for the I think from my perspective of firing the sheep, I think that would put a lot of weight on that second sentence there, and make sure that that stays in there. You know, it says the menu of indicators are be applied only when and where appropriate. So some of the questions I've already had here was about, you know, are you going to work them all together, or are you going to work all together, you know, the other side of the stage or whatever. So no, it doesn't say that. That one sentence there, I think, is still appropriate. You're not changing from, you know, on the one down A down here, you know. So there's some individual differences that make it difficult, but not impossible to apply the standards.
And we'll tie into that more when we talk about that implementation to follow up on that question. So again, I don't have to read all these, but based on the site-specific conditions, okay, which ties into applied only when and where appropriate. That's what we need to have to do this. Adjusted over time based on monitoring. Some of you have long-term monitoring, some of you have pack fishing, fish biological opinion monitoring on your allotments, PIBO. Some people have MIM, multiple indicator monitoring studies on their allotments, some don't. Some of you just have regular monitoring studies, long-term monitoring studies for riparian and upland conditions. So that's where that comes into. And then that management framework we talked about, the watershed condition framework. So we had to have some kind of a framework to yard all this up and try to fairly implement across the forests. That's where that watershed condition framework comes in. One thing that's important, it allows for the use of alternative indicators and values, providing the purpose of the guidelines met and best available science is used. So if you're going to work with East Oregon Ag Research Station down here, and it's going to, we come up with something that meets the intent of that, and it's a little different, that's okay as long as it's based on best available science and implemented consistently. So that's some of the flexibility we try to put in for GM3. So where will it be used? So, and we'll get to the guideline here pretty quick. So the sub-watershed classification, so again, properly functioning on those maps on the wall is green. Functional at risk is yellow. Most of you are in the functional at risk category, right? According to the evaluation that we have to date. And then impaired watersheds are less than functioning at risk. And so we only use, there's a lot of different water quality parameters, and again, there's folks in here, Jordan can help me with this a lot more when we get up and talk about the maps. We only tried to pick out the parameters in the evaluation of the watershed condition framework that livestock influence. So there's a whole evaluation of roads and the impact of roads to watershed health. That's not included in the evaluation of the livestock piece. What other things are not? Soils. Forests. Fires. Impacts of fires on watersheds. A lot of those things aren't included. There's three pieces that are included. I don't know if it's really here, but I'll say right now. So in the evaluation of those, it's riparian vegetation, condition of that, aquatic habitat, so the in-stream kind of habitat that livestock may influence. And then the water quality that ties to the state's impaired water quality kind of segment. So the combination of all three of those factors are how we came up with this. So if you look at them individually, the riparian vegetation may be good, maybe water quality limited for temperature, for example, or something else. And aquatics may be functioning at risk. So the combination of those would make it functioning at risk. Again, that's where we started from. That's where we are right now. So there's a lot of this that ties to ESA listed species. It doesn't apply. So our intent is not to have red band trout listed, right? So red banded trout have been petitioned for listing 3 times, something like that, 4 times, just to take them around like that. Hasn't happened yet. So we need to make sure that we're managing the watersheds appropriately so they don't become listed, because once species become listed, you can ask some of these folks here, a lot of our flexibility gets taken away. So here's the guideline specifically, and if you want to follow along in your handouts there we gave to you. So if the watersheds are green, right, so we have this map that they're green, so you have to maintain a stubble height of 6 inches. Unless, so there's even some flexibility, unless it's late serial, unless it's really highly functioning, then maybe we'll use 4 inches could be maintained. 3 or 4, one more. So here's your utilization. Okay. So remember the 2014 draft, this is vegetation that was 40%. So there's a range, a wider range actually. This is if you're functioning properly. And here's your stream bank alteration, about the same. Woody species, it was 40%, about the same. Okay, so not a big change if you're properly functioning. So here's what fits most of you all in the room. The yellow on the map and red is the same, trees the same. So, at least according to the information and data we have now, pretty much everybody in this room, I think. So you can see stubble height now went from 4 inches to 6 inches. Functioning at risk, we want to have more improvement out there. So stubble height would be 6 inches. And so now on streams, and then there's other qualifications. If you have a woody dominated or a willow dominated stream, if you want to graze it as a last pasture in the fall, we want to make sure that we don't have overuse on that, so it's 8 inches in that case. So here's your 30 to 35% utilization. So before it was 30 to 45, if it was functioning properly, functioning at risk goes from 30 to 35, so 35% utilization. Right now, I think most of you have a 40% utilization. And the difference between 35 and 40 is not a lot. Stream bank alteration, 15 to 20%. So right now, the in-fish says 20%. That's what we should be doing now. Woody browse, 20 to 30%. Again, current year leaders along the stream banks. Timelines. We talked about timelines before. So, this one right here, so when we're going to implement, so we're supposed to implement this when the decision is signed and becomes final, post-litigation, whatever happens, whatever that final point is, that the record, all permits will be modified and say we're going to comply with this, right? So the flexibility comes in. This number 2 is really, really important. Where I hope that you all will help us work together. Between 1 to 5 years, each forest will use an ID team composed of at least these type of folks, and the ID team, the expectation would be with you all, or with a representative of you, or with a group that the county helps form, or whatever it is. It helps come with us and reanalyzes these. Because we used the best information we had, and in some cases we had a lot of good information, in other cases we didn't. So we made the best estimated guess that we could. So we need to clarify whether this is yellow or this is green. Maybe it's red, I don't know. But this number 2, I'm pushing really hard to keep in there. So the intent would be that if you have listed fish species on your allotments, you're going to have 3 years to go out and reevaluate where you are in this. Work with our ID team and go out and look and reevaluate those conditions. If you don't have listed fish species on your allotments, the intent would be you have up to 5 years to go out and work with us, to go out and reevaluate that to see where we're at, to see what we need to implement. Because right now, there really isn't flexibility to not implement the guideline and the numbers the way it is. The flex, just being up front with you. The flexibility we have is going out and evaluating to see, is it appropriate? Is the site capable of growing grass that much? What does the site look like? Does it fit here? All those kind of things. And then to truly have a good idea of what the grade of watershed health is for those areas. Then, based on monitoring and other assessment information, we have the ability to modify the indicators. So maybe 4 inches is okay. Let's see. Maybe the woody browse is different. Maybe there's always, every allotment is so specific and unique that it's hard to have a one-size-fits-all for that.
So it could be up to 5 years, though, until this happens. So there could be 5 years.
Our intent that we would have 5 years to go out and reevaluate those conditions to make sure we got it right as the basis to start from.
So.
And if you wait till 4.5 years are up, it might be a hard change if things aren't like we think they are, or they, you know what I mean? Go ahead.
Okay, so most of us are all yellow up there.
Yes.
If we go to our assessments, we're still all yellow.
Okay.
When do we get to reassess and find out if we stepped up to a green level or dropped to a red level?
Well, it takes a while for resource conditions to improve.
And what is
So
that time frame?
Well, there isn't an established time frame.
So what I'm saying is, how do we get out of jail here? If
Well, I
we're all
think-
yellow, are we going to stay yellow forever? Or how do we get through the world that we're not yellow?
So I think that's why it's key to have the basis to begin with. And then it's going to take, gosh, I think a minimum of 5 years to change the ecological condition on a stream. And that's just on a really good stream that has lots of
So
water.
if I took non-use for 5 years, I could not move up to green?
I don't know. We'd have to reevaluate it. Again, it's so
So how do we
specific.
get reevaluated?
We go back out just like we're going to do.
So I commission you, and you're going to send a team, and we're going to reevaluate?
Absolutely. Yep. Who's next?
So before we get to Jim's stage,
Okay.
you're going to how many ID teams are you going to have?
Say there's one for the Hamilton Creek area.
Okay.
So the group of specialists, St. Jordan's going to,
How many allotments can an ID team do in a year?
don't know. How many allotments do you have, Christy? Or Jim or somebody? How many? 30? 33. So say we can do 6 a year. You got 5 years there, 37 a year or something.
Okay, so you're going to prioritize in the first 3 years anybody that's got an issue.
Anybody that has listed fish species in their allotment.
Okay.
And so I think that's only Central Mount here, allotment here. Am I right on that? Wherever it is up here.
So how many people is that?
That's one permittee, right? 2 permittees. And they already have a letter of concurrence from the Fish and Wildlife Service for bull trout because we did the NEPA, the decision on their allotment, so they're kind of done. They kind of know what they have to do, so they're kind of...
So does that mean the rest of the 33 permittees would have one team to get the job done in 5 years' time?
Yes. And so we'll have to prioritize, obviously, the streams that are perennial streams. Those are the ones we want to focus on. Some of the intermittent ones that we may count, maybe not as much. So if we have 2 different kinds of streams in the pasture for that, because it'll be done on a pasture basis, because he doesn't have pastures on here, but you can see some of the, I think these pastures. But so we'll have to do it like that.
So
I'll get to you next.
if you don't have funding, how does this get done?
So we have funding to fund the people that we have right now. So it's the people, there's not going to be a new team. So it'll be the people that you're working with right now, being Ray and Jim and Jordan and Christy, and those people that are here, Jason on Prairie City, that will be out there working with you because you understand the allotments and they understand. There's not going to be a new team coming in. Otherwise, I don't think it'll work. I don't think we can bring a whole new team in here to do this and then what, they evaluate you guys and then they leave?